Hi guys, it's Amy here. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. So today I'm going to be sharing with you 6 books to warm your heart, to give you the warm fuzzies, to warm the cockles, all of those things, because we are in the month of love, February, and I'm not sure where I'm going to put this video up, but potentially around Valentine's Day. But the reason I wanted to make this video and kind of make a little bit of a different video to the normal kind of top relationships in books and all that kind of stuff, I want to share with you some books that actually don't focus on romantic love or romantic relationships between people, and actually some other kinds of love in books that I really appreciate. These books are a real mixture. I've got a graphic novel, poetry collection, fiction, classics, lots of things here for you, so I'm excited to get started. We'll jump straight in now. So the first book I have here is by Frederick Backman, and it's a Man Called Ove. If you haven't read anything from Backman before, I would really recommend you start here. I read this book first and it absolutely made me fall in love with Backman. So this book follows our main character named Ove, who is this old gentleman on the front here. So we find out that Ove is living by himself because his wife has passed away, and he appears to be our typical kind of grumpy old man that grumbles at everyone in the neighbourhood and doesn't really want to interact with anyone or speak with anyone, and just generally complains and moans about people. At the very beginning of this book, a family moves into the house next door to Ove, and the first encounter that he has with them is them backing up and driving all over his garden, and so he goes out, starts kind of yelling at them and getting very upset at the fact that they've ruined his garden and why can't they reverse properly and all this kind of stuff. Ove's kind of main driver in life at the beginning of the book is just to live out his days until he dies and he can join his wife. It's very, very sad. However, as the book goes on, he's kind of introduced more and brought out of his home more by this family living next door and the rest of the people in his neighborhood. He's interacting more, he's living and enjoying life more, and it's just beautiful. It's so heartwarming. I remember reading this one on like holiday in Mallorca on a very sunny day and sitting by the pool like crying because it was so heartbreaking. Definitely one you need to get the tissues out for if you plan on reading it soon. Next I have a graphic novel for you, and that is Nimona by Noelle Stevenson. So this is a book that you have probably seen before. It was definitely popular way back at the beginning of BookTube, and this follows our main character Nimona, who aims to become the sidekick, I guess, of the local area's supervillain, which is this guy here. At the beginning of the book, he very much does not want an annoying little girl chasing around after him, trying to be his sidekick, and rebuffs her, and there's a lot of kind of banter and funniness going on there. But as the book goes on, their kind of friendship grows, and it's just really sweet, light-hearted, a really enjoyable read, and the actual kind of graphics in it, the illustrations and things are really, really beautiful. The actual kind of colours they choose, the way that it's all drawn is really, really lovely, and I just found that I was laughing a lot when I read this book, and I don't often find that in graphic novels. Maybe it's just the ones that I've read, but this one it certainly did that for me. It's also like a complete thing, so it's not part of a like series or a comic book or anything like this. It's literally just this one and it tells the whole story. I would highly recommend. Have you read this one? Let me know down below. Next we have a poetry collection, and that is Rapture by Carol Ann Duffy. So this book definitely hit me at the right time of my life. What I loved about the poems in this book was the fact that it doesn't just focus on romantic love and being in love with someone. It looks at everything connected with being kind of human and experiencing love of any kind, whether that is romantic or a friendship kind of love or whatever it may be, and the different things that you can experience through love. So grief and breakups and turmoil, and you know, when I say breakups, it's not just breakups that you may have with a partner. It could be a breakup with a friend or anything like that. You can apply these poems to any relationship and any kind of situation that you have. On the back here it says, "Rapture is a map of real love in all its churning complexity, showing us that a song can be made of even the most painful episodes in our lives." As I said, I think this one came to me at like the perfect time, and when I read it I felt really, really connected to it. In fact, I think I would say it's probably the most connected I've ever felt to a poetry collection, because I don't often read poetry, so yes, I would definitely recommend this one. Next up we have a classic, and that is The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. So this book follows the story of Mary Lennox, who grew up in India and her parents unfortunately passed away, so she becomes an orphan. Following the death of her parents, she moves to her uncle's manor in the Yorkshire moors in the UK, so much a contrast to India. Mary is very much an adventurous child who is looking for the life and love in all things, and on her adventures and kind of little explorations of this manor house, she actually discovers a secret garden that has been locked up and hidden away from the world. Part of this story also focuses on the relationship between Mary and her cousin. Now, her cousin is living in the manor house and he never leaves his room. He's a sickly child that people pander over, and he's quite arrogant, I guess, in his ways. He's not particularly pleasant at the beginning of the book, and Mary somewhat snaps him into shape and gets him being a little bit more adventurous himself. And the relationship between her and her cousin, the relationship between her and her uncle, and everyone at this manor house that before she got there was quite drab and sad, melancholy. She changes things and it's just beautiful. The secret garden aspect of it, the actual garden, is also wonderful. If you haven't seen the film either, I would highly recommend that one. Not the newer one, I think there is a newer one, the older version, whichever one you can find, is just heartwarming, literally gives you all the feels. Definitely one that you need tissues for as well. Certainly for the film, it's just wonderful, so highly recommend that one. Next we have a book that I actually mentioned in my top books of 2020, and that is Ruby Fruit Jungle by Rita Mae Brown. We follow our main character Molly Bolt, and it is set in kind of 1950s and around that time in America. Molly is a very vivacious character. She's got a lot of gumption. She's so kind of lively and strong-minded and just doesn't care what other people think. So this is an LGBTQA+ novel. Molly is gay and she is proud to be who she is. However, at the time that this is set and the time that she is growing up, it proves to be very difficult and sometimes dangerous for Molly to express the opinions that she has and to just be who she is and love who she wants to love. Whilst this book doesn't necessarily focus hugely on Molly's relationships, there are relationships that she has that obviously kind of bring in romantic love into the story. What I got from this book was just the passion that she had and the overall feeling that hope was coming, and that's what warmed my heart so much when I read this book. Molly pushes all of her opinions and stands her ground when it comes to feminism and the LGBT community and everything like that. She really knows her own mind, and I loved that. I just felt like it really filled me up with joy, even though parts of the book were saddening and quite heartbreaking. I found her story fantastic and I would highly recommend. My final book that I have to share with you is a children's classic, and that is Winnie the Pooh by A.A. Milne. Now, I'm sure many people, especially people living in the UK, will have read Winnie the Pooh as a child. Now, if you haven't read it as an adult, I would highly recommend that you do so. These books are so quaint, so beautiful, so incredibly witty. Like, reading it as an adult, you're like, I would never have picked up half of the kind of funny quips as a child reading this, but as an adult I'm like, this is funny stuff, this is really, really good and really heartwarming, so incredibly heartwarming. If you don't know, Winnie the Pooh follows the characters of Christopher Robin and his kind of woodland friends, Winnie the Pooh being one of them. We've got Tigger, Piglet, Eeyore, all of those characters, and it's just Christopher's adventures and all of the kind of silly, funny things that the woodland characters get up to and how Christopher helps them and their lives together. It's a children's book, so it's relatively simple. However, the impact of some of these things and the way the stories are told, it's just beautiful. Are you a fan of Winnie the Pooh? Have you read them as an adult? So those are all the books that I have to share with you today. I would love it if you came down below and told me about some books that warm your heart. Do come and chat with me in the comments. As always, I'll leave links to everything I've mentioned today down below. I hope you're all having a fantastic day and I will see you soon. Bye!